Today, we're going to discuss earnest money deposits. Whether you're a buyer or a seller, you're going to be in a transaction. You're going to be working with earnest money deposits. My name is Stephanie Dupuis. I'm with Dupuis team at Keller Williams, West Sound, and Silverdale. So, here's the basics, and I'm going to get this one out of the way because I'm guilty of this myself. Earnest money deposit. You're going to see this acronym often, whether you're working with a lender, a real estate agent, or broker. So earnest money deposit, also known as EMD. So we're in a military area here in Bremerton, Washington, Silverdale area, and we're lots of acronyms flying back and forth between the military and the real estate brokers. We'll send an email, say, hey, your EMD is due, and the buyer or seller, or the buyer has no idea what we're talking about. So EMD simply means earnest money deposit. All right, now that that's over, earnest money deposit. If you're a buyer, this is one of the first things you're going to encounter after your offer is accepted, after you have mutual acceptance. What is earnest money deposit? Why do you need it? How does it work? So, earnest money deposit is simply a good faith deposit that the buyer makes to a trust account or escrow account, basically to the seller. And it's from buyer to seller, and what the earnest money deposit does is it buys the buyer additional time to get their financing in order. Now, if you're a cash buyer, why do you make an earnest money deposit? Well, it buys you more time so that you're not having to, you're going to be making a cash payment, so you don't want to do that right away. It buys you also more time. Where does the money go? So the earnest money is deposited into a third-party account, typically a trust account or an escrow account. We most often see it deposited into a trust account at the escrow company. So, and there's a bunch of laws. Your real estate agent or broker can explain what's going on in your individual situation. But it typically goes to your escrow company, and it's held in this account until closing or until the contract ends, which can vary depending on what happens in the transaction. So that's the basics on earnest money. Now, so what typically happens is a buyer goes under contract, and the first question is, how much earnest money should I provide the seller? And so we're going to approach that in a separate video because that's just too much of a question for this video. However, that is a discussion you need to have with your agent or broker, okay? It varies. There's no one-size-fits-all answer to how much earnest money you should provide. It really varies on the situation, your situation, seller situation, the home. Another question that we encounter a lot is, do I get my earnest money back? What happens to my earnest money? So if you're a buyer and you provide earnest money, that is your money. You will get your earnest money back as long as you stay within contract. Now, if you breach contract, you may lose your earnest money, but most people don't. You need to work closely with your broker to stay within contract so you get your earnest money back. Now, let's say you have mutual acceptance and you go all the way to closing. What happens to your earnest money then? You direct escrow on what happens with your earnest money. It typically goes towards closing costs, down payment, something towards the buyer's expense. So those are your basics on earnest money, what happens with earnest money, and what it is. If you found this video useful, please share it, like it, share it with your friends, take some friends. We'd love to hear from you. Leave comments below, questions that you may have. Earnest money deposits tend to create a lot of questions. We'd love to answer them. We'll take the time to answer them. We will see you next week. Again, I'm Stephanie Dupuis with Dupuis team at Keller Williams, West Sound.